Hey everyone, it's Types, and in the Pokemon TCG, every single expansion has a main Pokemon in it that's featured predominantly on the material for promotion of the set, as well as, I guess, packs, which is obviously related to that, and various different products. Also, I will say, at first I thought the list of Pokemon that were the main one in each set was like super obvious, that I started from new to old. If we look at the Japanese expansions, which are essentially the same exact thing as the international expansions, you look at like, well, not Storm Emeralda. By the way, Storm Emeralda not here because it's not out internationally. We look at Abyss Eye, and Abyss Eye is named after Darkrai EX with the attack. Oh, it's not translated. Well, it's called Abyss Eye, so that one's pretty obvious, and that's true for essentially all the Mega Era sets. However, for example, Mega Evolution itself was split into two sets in Japan. And then once we go older than that, it's kind of obvious for Black Bolt and White Flare. But then with some of these older ones, it becomes a little bit harder to determine. So I will talk about that with some of the more questionable ones and why I've decided to go with them, I suppose. But mostly it's the one that I found the most predominantly shown on promotional material, including packs, ETBs, and build battle kits. There's usually one Pokemon on the front there. Also, this is all the sets, the main and special sets. I don't have, like, for example, Polyland Fates, which isn't in standard. There technically are some cards from it in standard. I guess Ultra Ball. That might be the only one. So, older sets, obviously, I'm not counting there. And then I'm not counting Mega Evolution Promos or Mega Evolution Energy because those aren't really sets, but I am counting the mini sets here. Anyways, let's just hop right in. We'll go in chronological order. I'm going to be kind of ranking them, talking about them, and yeah, let's just hop right in. So the first set we have is Temporal Forces. This one was a little tricky. It's focused around the ancient future Pokemon, and obviously I use the word and there. So we got ancient, and they also have future. So it was really between Iron Leaves EX and Walking Wake EX. I think Walking Wake EX was featured a little bit more though, so I decided to go with that. And this card is not good, right? Like, Iron Leaves EX is okay. Walking Away EX is not good. You have Jerseys, which says it hits through effects, and then you also have this attack that does 120 or 240 if you're affected by a special condition. I guess I'm talking about this in current standard, where wait, is this a current standard list? This actually is a current standard list, but it's not a good card. There are worse cards around. Also, they are all EXs, as you can see here. Some are Mega EXs, which are a subcategory of EXs. Specifically, all the Mega Era sets are Mega EXs there. But Walking Wake EX is, in the grand scheme of all Pokemon, I'll put it in D tier, I guess. It may be in the grand scheme of all Pokemon, it might be like C tier, but in these, in terms of these Pokemon, it's definitely not good. In terms of competitive play, it's not good, but it's like kind of playable-ish, I guess. Not like really, but it's something, I guess. Then we have the next expansion here, which is Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade, if you don't know, is like super strong. There's so many good cards from this set. And yeah, one of the Pokemon that is the main Pokemon is a very good card in Teal Messenger Pontiacs. By the way, this set, along with a bunch of others from this era, were like two separate sets. The other one was focused around uh was that the Dragapult set? Or is Dragapult also in the Teal Mask set? No, that was also the Teal Mask set. Was Blissey? No. Okay, it was Crimson Haze. I don't even know what Crimson Haze is, but this had some other stuff. So again, there were like two different sets, and you have some good cards in this set. But in internationally, we see Teal Mask Ogre Pontiacs, obviously a good card. When you draw a card, when you attach a basic grass from your hand to it, once per turn, then you draw a card, and then you do 30 more free energy attached to both actives for 3 grass. Obviously, this card is it's been good for a while. War is a supporting role, but a very important supporting role. Sometimes a legitimate attacker in a deck that plays Meganium, it can be used as an attacking option, but generally it's still overshadowed in those decks, but still provides good support. This card is not S tier. I think it's very clearly an A tier Pokemon. It's very good. It's not broken. As a draw engine, it's not really a draw engine. It draws you some cards in terms of energy acceleration. It's like the best way to get energy onto your board in standard, or one of the best ways to get energy onto your board in standard. In terms of getting it onto the exact Pokemon you want, it's not super good, so you need to do some other things, but it's very good as a secondary attacker. It's pretty solid as well. So just a really good Pokemon here. Then we have the next set, which is Shrouded Fable. This one, it was honestly super close between the Loyal 3 as well as Pekaron. Now, I imagine some of you are saying, obviously, it should be Pekaron EX, but one of the things that I was looking at, like, didn't have Pekaron on it. So I was like, I can't go with Pekaron. So I decided to go with Fezidipta EX. I think this one was slightly the most featured. Honestly, it's like super close, but obviously it's the best card as well. So I kind of wanted to go with it for that reason. This has its ability, flip the script once during your turn. If any of your Pokemon are knocked out last turn, you draw 3. You can't use more than one flip the script each turn. And then Cruel Arrow 100 for 3 colorless snipe anywhere. Honestly, I just got like completely obliterated by its attack in a game the other day, which was kind of cool to see. Not so good for me. I obviously lost. But yeah, this card is arguably the best Pokemon in Standard. It's S tier. Definitely the best. Definitely the best of the cards obviously on this list. A lot of these are kind of mediocre. But even if it was every Pokemon in Standard, it still might be S tier. I don't really know, to be honest. But it is or it would definitely be S tier. I don't know if it would be the top of S tier, but it's very very good for draw. It's pretty consistent. It has a usable attack. Honestly, probably about as good as Teal Mysterio upon EX's attack. It's not used as much, but it's probably about as good. And yeah, it's a one of in almost every deck in the game. It's very very good. Then we have the next expansion here, which is Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown this was really easy to figure out the main Pokemon. It's Trapghost EX. There's a lot of support for this card in this set, and it's a pretty solid card. Unified Beatdown is the main attack here. 30 for each of your bench Pokemon. For 2 colors, cannot be used turn 1 going. Turn 1 going second or first. But Crown Opal also walls basic non-colorless Pokemon for a bunch of different energy types. It's like probably usable in most of the decks that play it. Is my guess. Is that one Prism? No, but a deck like this could technically attack with that attack. It's not used much, but it can be used. But Unified Beatdown is solid. I mostly talk about these cards in current standard, where Trapghost EX in current standard is not super impressive. It's not terrible, but I'm gonna go with. I'll put it in. It's either B or a C tier. I guess it should probably be C tier. It's not very good in current standard. I mean, it's kind of playable, especially with Toucannon. It's interesting, but it's still probably not the best build of Toucannon. So yeah, I think C tier is fine. It's lost some of its juice. It's lost double turbo energy, right? And so it's chucked in stuff, but there are better Terras and generally better Pokemon that do kind of similar things. It's all right. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I'm gonna go B tier. I'm trying to look at the other Pokemon in the tier list as well. Obviously, tier lists aren't like scripted videos. Sometimes people script tier lists, but most of the time they're not. So I certainly didn't. I think B tier is fine enough here. Then we'll go to the next set, which is Surging Sparks, the last set of the year. This set, the main Pokemon is Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX is a card that is another stellar Pokemon here. Where is it? Here it is. I don't know how I couldn't find it. It's in type order. But this actually only has a stellar attack for Grass, Lightning, Metal. You do 300, discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. And if you're at full HP and would be one shot by damage, then you go to 10 HP instead. This card's definitely interesting. Definitely an okay card. Definitely not an amazing card either, right? People are doing big damage. Currently in Standard, it's kind of mediocre. I'm going to say I'll also put it in B tier. I want to kind of weight these a little higher than I might normally because some of these are not very good. So I think B tier is fine enough for Pikachu EX. It's not super spectacular, but it's fine enough. We'll probably have a good chunk in B tier. Also, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you like and subscribe. It really does help support me in the channel. Yeah, I'd really appreciate if you did that. But let's move on to the next expansion, which is the next year internationally. In Japan, it's actually the similar set was released the previous year, which makes things kind of weird, especially when I talk about like sets in a year. But regardless, the main Pokemon from this expansion was EVEX. This is another Pokemon, I guess, with only a stellar attack, doing 200 for these 3 types of energies. Of course, it's a basic Terra that can evolve into any evolution EX. This is played in Flareon decks. It's pretty much only played in Flareon decks. Yeah, so it's obviously not Flareon, right? Flareon's the main Pokemon in Flareon decks. This is just a previous evolution. I think it's a one of, if I'm not mistaken, in these decks. And then you play like the single prizer as well as a one. Where is it? Oh no, it's a 4 of in this decks. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. I don't think it's normally a 4 of though, unless I'm just being silly here. Yeah, okay. I think normally it's a like a one or a two of. Let me find it in this deck as well. I'm for some reason struggling. I'm struggling to find it because it's like not a regular previous evolution, so it's sorted weirdly. But it's like a one of or a two of. It's okay. What it does on its own though is kind of nothing. So I'm actually gonna put it in C tier. Flareon also is not like super good, nor are like Pikachu EX or Trapagos EX. So deck wise, I think Flareon's probably above those. Certainly probably above Pikachu EX. I don't know. It's kind of close though. And then EVEX isn't the main Pokemon in its deck. Obviously, weird being. I guess it is technically it's a final evolution, but obviously, really, it's not. So, EVX is definitely a Pokemon that is pretty unique and not in a super good way for this tier list. Then we move on to the trainers Pokemon, and we see Journey together with the Pokemon that I think is the main one is Enzoric EX. This one obviously a good card and a good deck in standard. Its ability to use credit cards from your hand to draw 2 cards. This is pretty good. As a draw ability, it is arguably the best draw ability in standard. And in my opinion, I think it might be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Then you have Night Joker here for 2 Darkness. Choose one of your bench ends Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Obviously, it's a focus of a good deck in standard, which is good. Right, so it's gonna be A tier here. I think I'm gonna actually put it above Teal'c EX. Teal'c EX and Enzoric EX, they're honestly pretty close, but Enzoric EX is the main Pokemon of its stack. Teal'c EX is a little more versatile, so it's pretty close. I think you can make an argument either way there, but Enzoric EX is capable of a lot of draw, which is good. It's a legitimate engine, unlike Teal'c EX, which as a draw engine is not really a legitimate engine, and it's a legitimate attacker as well. Obviously, it relies on lots of other stuff. Obviously, other ends Pokemon, it's in like you have to do that, otherwise you can't like do anything. But I suppose you can use it just as an engine and other stuff as well, which is done occasionally. Not too much, but it's okay in that role. It's definitely a pretty good Pokemon. Then we have the other Trainers Pokemon set. There's really just 2 Trainers Pokemon sets. And we have Destined Rivals, which the main Pokemon was Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. This one's kind of weird. There's the other this was split into 2 expansions in Japan, plus 2 other decks, which meant that we had a bunch of different Trainers Pokemon compared to Journey Together, where we just had 4 different sets. We had, I believe, 7 in this set, but we had the most Team Rocket's Pokemon, and the face of them is Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. This card has blossomed into a decent attacking option in Standard, I guess. I mean, I don't really see it too much now, actually. It's certainly not amazing. I'm going to say this card is in B tier, though. Pairing it with, because you have your attack Erasure Ball, allowing you to do 160, but up to, what was it, 280 here, if you discard some energy from your bench Pokemon. And then you're also able to, you have this ability, though, which is bad, meaning you can only attack if you have 4 more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play, but you do have some of the highest HP for a Pokemon like this in the game, which is very good. So there's some pros and cons to this card. Obviously, it's Team Rockets as well. You have the Team Rocket stuff around it, which is some of it's good, some of it's not as good, but definitely an interesting card. One that I think is a little mediocre right now. Not bad though. It's definitely not bad. I'm gonna put it in B tier here above the other 2 cards. I think you could argue that it's in a tier above them. I I really don't think you can argue that Team Rocket's B2 EX is up a tier here. We can maybe argue the other ones are down a tier, but I think they're close-ish here. And then we have and maybe I should have moved this down a tier. I'm not sure, but like there are worse cards around. I mean, all the featured Pokemon in a set are at least okay. They're probably up 20 most interesting slash best cards in the set there. Then we move on to the 2 expansions, which I don't know the order of, but I guess we'll do White Flare first. Which we have Reshiram EX, then we have Zekrom EX as well. They're kind of the same thing, though they obviously are different types there. And you do 130, 50 more for each prize your opponent has taken. And then with Reshiram EX, you discard an energy. With Zekrom EX, you do damage to yourself, I think. And just 2 energy of the type plus another colorless there. Yeah, you do 30 yourself. So they're pretty much the same attack, except I don't know. I think Zekrom EX and Lightning is better than Fire. I mean, if we look at the Fire stuff in Stand with the Reshiram EX, it's not anything really, because it was mostly played with like Armor Rouge and Ethan Show EX, which have rotated there. Apparently, I've seen some play in Dragapult lists with Blaziken, but not like much. I've not actually seen this in the game. So Yeah, there was some like weird fireboxy stuff. I mean, I'm sure if you're playing Delphox, I guess you're probably playing Reshiram EX. Unfortunately, Delphox, it's not good. But yeah, Reshiram EX is gonna go in. Oh, where is it gonna go? Probably C tier, or no, probably honestly D tier, and then I'll put Zekrom EX in C tier. I do think Zekrom EX is solid in like Electric Box decks, which are okay. They're not like super impressive, but they're okay. They're definitely okay. A little underrated, I suppose. I mean, they're not like super underrated, but I'll put them in the tier list like this. We move on to the Mega era where we have Mega Evolution. This was actually super close between Mega Lucario and Mega Gardevoir EX. They were revealed alongside each other at the World Championships. They were also looking at promotional material super close to each other. Obviously, one of these cards is a lot better than the other. And Gardevoir's generally, I'd say, the more popular Pokemon. I don't know. I mean, they're both pretty popular. But yeah, anyways, I decided to go with Mega Lucario. I think it was slightly more featured on stuff. I mean, I think it was featured on the build and battle kit in the front, and then Gardevoir was on the back. But anyways, Mega Lucario EX is good. Mega Gardevoir EX is not so good. But Mega Lucario with Aura Jab 130 and accelerating fighting energy to your bench Pokemon from your discard. I actually didn't realize it was any type of Pokemon, but in terms of how it's played, it's really just played with fighting stuff. And then Mega Brave for 2 fighting, you do 270, can attack next turn. Obviously, the fighting support is really good. Mega Lucario EX as a card itself is somewhat mediocre, but I do think this is a B tier Pokemon, probably the best of the B tier Pokemon. In terms of how good it is, yeah, I think it's just a little bit better than Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. Obviously, you have the I mean, this is the first Mega. It's got high HP. It's got theoretically good stats, but boring other stuff, I'd say. But the deck is pretty good. It's close to Ends Arceus, I guess. I mean, current standard, I'd say Ends is a lot better, but in general, within like a recent history over the course of a few sets, it's close. But then Zoroark EX is really the main Pokemon in that deck. Mega Lucario EX is important, but there's a lot of other important cards as well. Speaking of important cards, we got Phantasmal Flames with Mega Charizard X EX. Of course, the set's not very good. Mega Charizard X EX is one, a bad name in my opinion. Two is not very good. Inferno X for 2 fire, you discard any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon. Do 90 if each card discarded in this way. This does potentially big damage, but in practicality, doesn't really do anything. It was played some in Charizard EX. It wasn't even super good in that deck, and then now it's rotated. So honestly, there's not really much to say about this card. It's pretty bad. I think it is probably honestly F tier. It doesn't like do much as impressive. Strangely enough, in Japan, this deck's been picking up a little bit. I don't really have much to say about it right now because I haven't looked into it too much. And I mean, recently, as in like yesterday, I did a video talking about the Japanese meta, and I didn't talk about Charizard. I could have, maybe, but it's not actually doing that well. Maybe picking up a little bit of steam, and I mentioned in the past that the Oracle EX could be good at some point in the future if we get a Fire Mega Heatran, but regardless, none of that stuff really matters for this. I think Mega Charizard XEX is pretty bad. It's very clunky, requires a bunch of stuff around it, and when it works, it's fine, I guess. I mean, I was talking about Mega Rayquaza EX is how I just don't think it's good. And on the other hand, you have this, which is a stage 2, right? Technically requires, I guess, less setup. Maybe I don't know. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Speaking of big stage 2 megas, we have Ascended Heroes where one, the set's like huge, and two, I guess the main Pokemon is Mega Dragonite EX. I mean, obviously it's a weird set, mostly reprints here, very large as well, and not good, I guess. But regardless, we have this set with the Mega Dragonite EX here. This card is not good. Obviously, with this attack, 330 is like a good amount of damage to be doing. And then you're attacking for Water Lightning, which is pretty clunky. The thing that is the other part about this card, I was gonna say the interesting part. I don't know if it's the interesting part, but you can switch every turn, which is cool. Ultimately, not super useful. And then you're like Dragon as well, and that's like not so good, especially being a 3 prize Dragon Pokemon here, because then you're weak to Liz Clefairy EX, which is a bit of a problem. So It's not like the end of the world, but the end of the world for this card is that like it's expensive on a stage 2 and not that impressive at what it does. And so this card is, I guess I'll put it in D tier. It's maybe even better than the Walking Wake EX. I mean, I've heard some people say this card is very good. I played against it some. I don't think it's literally ever done like anything. Maybe it's done something at one point, but as a card, it's not very good. There are worse cards around, but it's not good. Then we have Mega Zygarde EX. Speaking of megas that are not good, Mega Zygarde EX is a weird, actually an interesting card with the tool that works with it, which I am going to count for it because like it's literally only usable with Mega Zygarde EX, and that allows you to do 350, and then you like lose all the energy. It's cool. It's definitely an all right option. The attacks on Mega Zygarde itself, the um the first attack 200 taking 30 less is like super mediocre. The second attack here doing this like big damage on like coin flips, it's really fun, but it's really terrible. I mean, it could be if you flip all heads, I guess it's good. I mean, obviously, what it does if you flip all heads is objectively strong, but it's also 5 energy and a type which getting energy acceleration is. I mean, I guess it's relatively doable, but it's like relative to other types. I guess I'm trying to think. I'm getting 5 energy is just like not really doable very much in general. But regardless, Mega Zygarde, you put all these things together. None of them are like super good. The attack, obviously, you're not flipping heads all the time. You don't have control either, really, with what you're doing. So it's pretty bad. I've seen this summon Mega Lucario from time to time. I don't think it's like really worth it at all. I don't really know why it's in the deck. I mean, maybe core memory, but that's still. I mean, you can do big damage with Mega Lucario itself as well. So Mega Zygarde is pretty bad. I think it's definitely D tier in my opinion. I'll put it above Reshiram EX, but it's not very good. Then we come to Greninja EX, a bit more of an interesting mega here that's like, okay, you discard a water from your hand if it's in the active to put 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's active, or sorry, on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then you do for 2 water, 120, you put a water from this Pokemon into your hand, and then you do 80 more damage. I will mention, so in some ways, this is kind of the successor to Dragapult. One big issue with this, it really likes new upper energy. I did a video talking about post rotation. I don't even remember if I talked about this stack, but new upper energy is rotating there. And also, it's mostly played with Dragapult, and it doesn't have Drake look. It's definitely not as good as Dragapult. Like, obviously, it's not played as much as Dragapult, but post rotation, it's definitely not going to be as good either. And then the ability is interesting, can apply a lot of pressure, but also is kind of clunky to set up. It's a stage 2, requires an energy, obviously requires presumably more to attack as well. There is theoretically a synergy between the attack and the ability. In practice, there's not that much synergy, and it's not like super good. It's not super bad either. You can really obliterate your opponent's board in a similar way to Dragapult at times. You can even stack it with Dragapult. We are talking about it in standard right now, and you do have Neo Upper. So, I mean, it's okay. It's not good. It's between B and C tier. I think I'll put it in B tier. It is newer, so people are playing it a bunch, but I think B tier is fine. Honestly, I'll put it above Pikachu X below Terrapagos feels fine. It's a fun card. It's more fun than it is good, but it's not terrible. And we have the last card on this list from Pitch Black, which is Mega Darkrai EX. Mega Darkrai EX is a card I haven't really messed with too much or seen too much. Duskgrade is okay doing 110, but then does 220 if you have damage on your bench. And then Abyssai here does an instant knockout if your opponent's active is affected by a special condition, but Abyssai isn't a very good attack here. Duskgrade is okay, I guess. It's a big basic mega. These have not really proven themselves to be very good if they're just doing knockout stuff. They really need some other utility. I think the best example of that is Mega Absol, or I guess there's Mega Kangaskhan, which has the utility of being like an actual legitimately good draw Pokemon. But in terms of a more similar Pokemon, Mega Absol, you see something similar where you have a Pokemon that has just attacks, no abilities there, and it's still okay because it has disruption tied to its solid damage, but it's not even that good. It's a card I thought was going to be bad. A lot of people did end up being all right, but it's now proven itself to be somewhat mediocre. And Mega Darkrai doesn't have those things going for it, so it's not very good. I think it's probably C tier. It's probably between Eevee and Zekrom in my opinion. Overall, these Pokemon honestly are a lot more fairly distributed than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot to be kind of bad, maybe a peak at the top as well, but it's pretty even, which is pretty interesting there. But tell me in the comment section, one, did I get any of the Pokemon wrong? Like, is there a card that should have been the main one in this set? Maybe not Pheasantipty EX. That obviously would change things a little if instead of like Pheasantipty, it was like Okidogi or something. Pekka would probably be B tier. Honestly, maybe even A tier. At one point it was A tier, but it's probably down to B now. And then, I mean, there is Mega Gardevoir that would obviously drop things a little, and there is also Iron Leaves that would have actually raised things up. Walking Wake's pretty clearly not good, but it's interesting to see these cards and see what the Pokemon Company decides to, or the Pokemon Company National decides to put on their cards. And obviously, some of them, are good and some are not. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe because that really does help support me in the channel. Also, huge shout outs to my YouTube members for supporting me. It really does mean a ton. But I hope you all enjoyed. And as I said, see you in the next video.